Welcome to Adventure Freaks, a podcast on living abroad on a budget.
Today I'm with my my new amigo. Alvaro Mayorga is from El Salvador, and El Salvador is this beautiful Central American country that a lot of people bypass, and they go to Costa Rica, they hit Panama, and El Salvador is one of those off the radar Central American countries, but it is really a beautiful country. I was there a few years ago. It's along the Pacific coast. There's tremendous beaches. There's some terrific surfing, and there's some surf towns. And then San Salvador is the capital where Alvaro lives. And he's going to give us his story and his backstory about, being from El Salvador. He spent 12 years in Australia. He is a professional photographer, and his photography is absolutely stunning. And you can find his photography at mayorga.photography, and that's MAYORGA .photography, and that's on Instagram. And Alvaro is ALVARO, and then his last name MAYORGA.com is his website. And check it out because it's quite spectacular. We're going to post that at the end of the podcast as well. So thanks for being here, Alvaro.
Hey, thank you very much for your invitation. Well, like you said, El Salvador is a country that a lot of people just skip, to be honest. And, funny thing is that a couple of years ago, they created, or someone, I don't know who was, created a hashtag on Instagram on hashtag don't skip El Salvador. And they post, whoever have a really nice picture of El Salvador, they have to hashtag on that. And so anyone can see how beautiful is this country that, most people just like bypass, because of the bad rep that we usually have.
Yeah. There's been a lot of political, issues throughout Central America, especially in El Salvador, and that's part of the reason obviously that people have bypassed El Salvador, but it's calmed down quite a bit, and it is a place that people are catching on to. There are people moving to El Salvador and living in El Salvador, and that's I'm going to and you can elaborate on that a little bit more, because you're seeing these people moving in and buying houses and staying in flats, and they are coming from Canada, Europe, and the US, and it's a different destination that other than like an alternative from Mexico, which most people kind of flock to from US and Canada. So tell us a little bit about your backstory, about your journey, and coming from El Salvador, then moving to Australia, and then coming back, and the changes that you've experienced, and let us know what your journey was a little bit about.
Okay, so like you said, it was roughly 13 years ago when I moved to Australia. And I moved there because my auntie, who lived in here, she moved there as a refugee, and she was the only one from the family group that moved there. So in Latin America, the family groups are really like very, very close to each other. So obviously she felt that being so far away from their family, and she always was like asking me, "Why do you come over? This is a really beautiful place, and and you are going to love it." But back in the 90s and even early 2000s, Australia was like far away from everything, and the other issue was the communications. because we didn't have any, like, I mean, the internet was still, a bit rough on the edges.
Yeah.
The speed of the internet was terrible, because if you try to download a song or something, it took you like 3 hours or something.
Yeah.
It depends on who was your provider.
Yeah, and that's when we had like that dial-up. You remember you had
That's right.
use the phone?
I think the fastest was if you are lucky, like 56.6 kbps.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
That's true, man. I remember that.
So yeah, and as I said, communications were like very difficult. So you expect a call from them, I don't know, once, maybe twice a year. And then you just send letters and stuff that takes like 3 or 4 months to get there, and then another 3 or 4 months to receive. So that was a bit rough. So that's what I was never like keen to make that big move.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I reached, I don't know, like 20. Well, and that thing was always on the back of my mind, I would like to have a change of direction in my life. But I was very pleased on how my life was in El Salvador back then. But eventually the things weren't going good in the country. Then the violence levels like peak. And obviously work opportunities were like a bit, they weren't that good. So I said, well, I mean, I'm going to go there to study, to study something. And then I moved. So immediately when I got there, I was like, wow, this is totally different from whatever I'm used to.
What city was it?
Brisbane.
Okay.
So I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the Australian way, like very chill, very relaxed. Brisbane is a big city. Obviously not as big as Melbourne or Sydney, but still have that is very modern, but still have that small town vibe. That almost everyone knows everyone.
Yeah.
So that's what I like from Australia. And then I studied there. I graduated as a community service, which would be like some sort of social worker.
Mm-hmm.
And then I specialized working with people with disabilities. Then after, I always liked photography, I always like it. And then I studied in the Australian photography college. So, but was just to get, just to know what the craft of photography is. I wasn't expecting to live from this. So I studied that and stuff. And then I always carry my camera everywhere, Mm-hmm. Then one day I just like I was like I should get some extra cash from somewhere when I was planning to come here, like in order to get a bit more money. So it's like, what did I do? Like some sort of like craft or something, like I don't know. And then I realized, well, you have a camera, you know how to take pictures and stuff. Why don't you try to do that? And then that's when it started. I started to do like birthday parties and stuff. And funny thing is that start to like having a snowball effect.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people were like saying, okay, that's a good guy, you should hire him. And then when I realized I having like a lot of jobs like coming in on top of my like 9-to-5 job.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like busy, like most of the time I was busy either doing my work or my photography.
Was this in Australia when this started taking off?
In Australia.
What year was this about when it started taking off for you?
That was 2018.
In 2018, things started like booming.
Yeah. yeah. So, and that's the thing. I mean, I was like, this is not a bad, um, business. So, and so I said, okay, um, I can keep like growing this, but then my girlfriend, who is still my girlfriend now, she is an artist. She is a painter, and then she was always wanted to come to El Salvador or any country in Latin America, because she only like had traveled to Australia, Asia, and stuff, but she has never been here in America. So so as to say, okay, well, we should go to El Salvador and Spain and spend a bit of time over there. And she was like, okay, well, fine. So and the thing is that from the moment that I left the country, I never came back. I was there and I never came back to El Salvador. But my mom was still living in here, so, and she didn't want to travel all the way there because it was like very tough for her. So I said, okay, we are going to spend at least, I don't know, 6 months in El Salvador. So, and my girlfriend, yeah, I can work from anywhere in the world, so for me that's fine. And yeah, then we made the move here, and that was in 2019.
With the intent of staying for just like 6 months.
That's right.
5-6 months. Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's a funny part, because we arrive in, let's say, August 2019, and and then the period finished, I don't know, like I don't know, March, April next year. You know what what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then when I arrived, for those things in life, like strange things in life, I met this person and I took some pictures for him. And he loves them. He plays in a band. He loves them. And he's the owner of 24, 25 hotels in the region, in America, in Latin America, and all that. So he was like, I like your pictures. Why don't you take pictures of the hotels? And I'm like, but yeah, why not? So, so yeah, one thing's, start to like, again, like snowball situation going on again. And then March 2020, that's when the world changed for every single one of us. Sorry. Because, of the quarantine, pandemic, COVID-19 stuff that happened in the world. So we got stuck in here. So when they offered me the hotels, all the hotels that I was going to do I was going to be like in and out of the country like constantly, And the last hotel that I was going to do was going to be in August. So I was like, okay, in August I finished that, which is like packer stuff, and then go back. And
where was that at? Where did you go? What did you have to leave the country to go to that hotel?
Well, no. That's the thing. I mean, I was going to start in March.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to start that in I don't know, the 10th of March or something. My first one was going to be Honduras. Then I was going to go to Guatemala, Dominican Republic, Miami, Colombia, and so and some other ones. But then again, everything closed. So we were like, okay, I'm going to stay here for a bit.
Yeah.
Um, and basically, we start to like, even well, to be honest, when I first arrived in the country after being abroad for 10 years, even for me, was a bit of a shock,
Yeah.
to see how things change, sorry, either for good and for bad as well. For good because the city is so different now. We have a lot of high-rise buildings, a lot of different shopping malls and stuff that, and it looks very modern in certain areas.
Yeah.
But some other areas that, they haven't had, that development, and they have come in a bit of a decay situation. So in that sense, for me, was a bit of a shock to see, that, even though the country developed like quite good in the last 10 years, it also, there's another part of the country that, went a bit downhill as well. So, then we were staying at my mom's house because, again, it was just a temporal situation. Then, sorry, I'm just recovering from a flu.
Yeah, no worries.
So then we just decided, well, first of all, going back to Australia during that time was crazy because the prices of the ticket planes, they were like, I don't know, like 10,000 a head. Plus, when you get there, you have to pay your quarantine. So that was another 3,000, per person to get in, to stay into a quarantine. So we're like, okay, like 26,000 just to go back to Australia. It's like, really?
Yeah.
We just better stay here.
Sure.
So then we decided, okay, we're just going to you need to just to finish all your hotel jobs because it's going to help for your portfolio, because that's going to be a door opener anywhere in the world.
Sure.
If you say I have done all these hotels. So so yeah, that was the reason why we stayed. And the thing is that, I've been working for them since obviously everything went back to normal.
Yeah.
And I'm doing great. So I can't complain about, my current situation.
Yeah. Well, it sounds to me like, man, it's like just to go back and visit and reconnect with family and then have this opportunity, land in your lap where you meet this gentleman who runs these chains of hotels. But again, like I said, man, your work speaks for itself. Your work is sensational. And I can understand why anybody that sees it or you do it would say, hey, I want to hire you to do this work. So yeah, that's awesome. Do you plan on staying there now for a while, or
Well,
are you going to head
yes,
back?
no,
Yeah.
yes, because while we were staying at mom's during the quarantine, there was a little cat that used to come and and suss out what were we doing at home. So we started feeding them. So then we realized that it was a female and she was pregnant.
Now you have a family.
Yeah, now we have a family of cats, and yeah, we're going to stay here for a bit. Yeah, obviously we have been discussing, what if we try to move to another country. So, and my girlfriend said, no, we need to take the cats. And I thought, well, okay.
Yeah. Well, that's great, man. Thanks for all that backstory. That's quite a story. And yeah, COVID ended up turning into a really great opportunity. It sounds like for you, you know.
That's right. That's right. I mean, the thing is that sometimes we don't see what are the blessings in disguise, because yeah, for me during the COVID, I had plenty of free time to actually perfect my craft, do a lot of experimenting, do a lot of things that I wasn't doing or stuff. And that helped me out, giving a better quality for the clients. So, at least that free time, gave me something. I got something out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that's terrific. What kind of equipment are you shooting with? Do you have a variety of different cameras? Do you have like a point and shoot? Do you have like a smaller camera, or do you just use like a mirrorless?
Just a mirrorless.
A mirrorless.
Yeah, Sony Alpha.
Sony.
With a different variety of lenses.
Okay.
Um,
Which Sony Alpha? Which Sony A is it?
A7 III at the moment.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, those are amazing. Those are amazing.
Yeah. I'm waiting because right now everyone bought the A7 IV.
Yes.
I'm just waiting what the reviews are and see if it's if it's worth
the jump. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that those cameras hit the mark. A couple years ago. Like I look at the Nikon Z6 II. I look at the Sony A3. Even the Fuji X-T4 is up there, and that's a smaller sensor, but the quality that all of these cameras are producing now are amazing. You can do billboards with all those cameras, and the video capability on all of them are amazing as well.
Yeah, it's actually, a couple of my pictures ended up in a couple of billboards in here. So you don't need like a big Hasselblad or something, with just a normal camera. You can do it.
Yeah. So okay. So let's get into let's talk about El Salvador and what makes it special. What makes El Salvador special today for the viewers that are considering moving there, for the viewers that are considering traveling to El Salvador, possibly exploring the life and living maybe on the beach or in San Salvador. There's a lot of Bitcoin movement going on that's attracting people right now. I think El Salvador has quite the progressive president who is opening doors and opportunities like no other country in Central or South America, because of the Bitcoin thing that's going on. So what makes El Salvador special? Why should people, do you feel, what's attractive about it, and why would people want to go there?
Well, I must say that the best thing about El Salvador is their people. There is something that and a lot of foreigners, they they said that that's true, because I have seen so many people getting way out of their way just to help out a foreigner or something. I was watching a couple of years ago when I was showing videos of El Salvador to my girlfriend. We were watching a video of this guy who came from, I think it was from Washington or something, to spend the weekend down in the beach, and he was hitching a ride to El Puerto de la Libertad in order to get another bus to take him to the airport. So let's say, I don't know, have you been in El Sonte or somewhere in that ballpark?
No,
Before?
when I was there, I spent I spent a week and I was in San Salvador for the whole.
Okay. Okay, so basically from the airport to the beach that this guy was, let's say it would be like roughly like 40 minutes. So, and when we're to the place, to El Puerto de la Libertad, where he was trying to hitch a ride, let's say
How
it's
do you,
like
what is that? Porta what? Porta
Puerto de la Libertad, La Libertad Port.
La Libertad.
Mhm.
Okay.
So it's like from El Sonte, let's say, or Tunco, I think it was. From there to La Libertad is like 20 minutes, and
Okay.
another 20 minutes from there to the airport. So, so when the driver was asking him, "Where are you going?" and he was like, well, he's like really bad Spanish. He said, "Aeropuerto." He was like, "How are you going to get there?" And like, on a bus or something. Like, "No, don't worry, I'm going to drive you over there." And that person, he was working or doing something, and just like went to drop him at the airport, and then
Yeah.
out of his way. So, and then yeah, something that I really like from here is like, we still have that sort of what is mine is yours, like mi casa es su casa,
Sure. Yeah.
stuff like that. So that is something that you don't find in in the rich countries.
No. You certainly don't find it in the United
Yeah,
States.
that's right. That's right. And also, that sense of, if you live in a neighborhood or something, you usually know every single one of your neighbors. Whereas, well, in the case in Australia, my last apartment, I was living in I don't know, like 15, 16 stories apartment building, and each level had I don't know, like 10, 12 apartments. No one knows anyone.
Yeah.
You meet people on the elevator when you're going to work or something, and you just say, good morning,
Yep.
good afternoon, good night.
Yep.
You don't start any conversation or stuff. So it's that was something that was like a bit very confronting to me, because I always like to talk to people and stuff, but over there it was totally different. So that's one of the best things in El Salvador. It's Salvadorians. Then the other thing that I like, and it's that you can actually, there's a saying in here that you can have breakfast in the beach and then have lunch in the mountains and then have dinner in the city. So you can do three things, in this or on the same day, no problem.
Yeah.
Because it's so small.
Yeah.
That, I mean, the main beach in here is like, I don't know, 35 minutes from San Salvador.
Okay.
And the volcano, we have the San Salvador volcano, which is, let's say 20, 25 minutes from here as well.
Is that active, the volcano?
No.
Okay.
No. Well, the last one, last time that erupted was 1917, if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
So yeah, haven't had any activity ever since.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's another thing to like from El Salvador, and then the most important thing to me, well, the second most important thing is the food. The food is something that you definitely need to try. If you know pupusas, that's the most well-known dish from here. But there's also a lot of things like turkey panes con pollo, which is like some sort of turkey bread, turkey roll.
Mhm.
And it's so cheap. You know, the typical food is so cheap. You
Yeah.
know, and you know, you can get it anywhere on the streets and stuff. And most of the time, they're very safe.
Yeah. For like a meal, like the typical food for a meal, going
Yeah,
into one of those little restaurants.
yeah, yeah.
What are you gonna pay for a typical meal?
Well, let's say $3, roughly.
$3. Yeah.
You know, maximum.
Maximum.
Yeah.
That might even include a cerveza.
Yeah, cerveza is yeah, 75 to $1.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And
yeah, so
and pupusas are like, 50 cents to a buck, I'd imagine.
yeah, roughly. Depends on how big the pupuseria is. That's
Yeah.
obviously how expensive or how cheap they might be.
Yeah.
So funny thing is that around the corner from where I live, uh, because pupuseras, which is the actually the name of the woman who
Mhm.
makes the
Makes
pupusas.
it. Yeah.
Um, they only need a hot plate and a little table with ingredients, and that's it. That's the only thing that they need to actually make the pupusas. So around the corner from where I live, there's these two ladies who every single morning they make pupusas, and they have a big sign that it says we accept Bitcoin. So
Nice.
so yeah, that is something to consider, that because of the law that was passed in September, was started on September the last year. All the vendors have to accept Bitcoin.
Yeah. Wow. That's just wild. And it's wild that it's happening in El Salvador. But just to recap, you
Mhm,
mentioned, for people that are interested, for the viewers that are listening that are interested in
mhm.
moving to El Salvador. So the people, the accessibility,
Yeah,
where you can go to the beach, you can go to the mountains, you can go to the city all in one day.
yeah.
And the what's the last one that you said?
The food.
And the food, right? It's
Mhm,
amazing. And if you've never tried a pupusa, that's a food that originates from El Salvador, and they are
mhm.
outstanding. They are
Yeah,
outstanding.
yeah, but you gotta eat it properly, because if you just eat the pupusas itself, it's fine. But what it makes the deal is, to have the curtido, which is some pickled
Yeah, the cabbage.
cabbage, yeah,
Yep.
plus the salsa.
Sauce. Yeah.
So that's what it makes it like really, really, really
Really,
good.
I agree. They're outstanding. There's actually, and we're in Virginia, and there is
Mm,
a large population of
yeah,
Salvadorans in
yeah.
Virginia, Northern Virginia, and up near DC, and even further down. So there's a
Mm.
couple pupuserias around here where we live.
Okay,
And
okay.
there's a friend of mine he's from El Salvador. He's a builder, and he turned me
Mhm,
on to this pupuseria.
mhm.
Fantastic. And
Okay,
there's everybody that works there is from El Salvador, but the pupusas are phenomenal.
okay.
Absolutely phenomenal.
How much they cost in there?
Um, they're really cheap. I mean, I think they're like maybe $1.50 to $2 a piece.
Okay, well, it's not
Yeah,
that bad,
yeah. So
because
they're really affordable here
because
too.
yeah, in Australia was what, $5 a
Oh,
pupusa.
wow. Well, yeah. But Australia, especially Brisbane and Sydney, they're pretty expensive.
Yeah,
And I
yeah, yeah.
compare I compare those cities to kind of like New York.
Mm-hmm.
We're south of DC quite a bit. So
Mm-hmm.
we're outside of the high dollar districts, but even around DC, you can find these little local pupuserias that have some
Mm.
affordable pupusas,
Okay,
that aren't going
okay.
to be like $5 a piece. But yeah, and then one of my best friends in the whole wide world, I love her dearly. She's from El Salvador. And Lily
Okay.
is the one who kind of hooked us up, where we connected
Okay.
and she
Okay. Yeah.
set it
Yeah.
up. So I'm just a shout out to my buddy, the Lilster. Love you, Lilster. But yeah, so I agree. I had an amazing time. It's an incredible culture. People are wonderful and friendly and kind and helpful. The food is spectacular, and the landscape of El Salvador
Yeah.
is gorgeous. It
Yeah.
is gorgeous. It is.
Yeah.
It offers everything that anybody could want. If you like hiking, if you like going into the mountains, you have it. If you like volcanoes and you like adventure, you have it. The jungle, if you're into surfing and you like big waves and amazing beach towns, you have it. You got these really cool sections of San Salvador, and it's like there are some really bougie hipster type areas
Yeah.
in San Salvador. So it's like
Yeah.
it's a really neat place. It's a really neat place. So let's talk about affordability. Now, for people that would want to come and maybe rent an apartment, or rent a flat. I mean, do you have an idea what the going rates are for like a one bedroom or two bedroom?
Yeah, I mean, uh, always it all comes down on location, you know.
Yes.
Um, Depends on what neighborhood or what side of San Salvador you're living. It can go, let's say, and I'm talking about safe places, that
Sure. Yeah.
yeah, can go from like 450 to 600 roughly, and mostly here in San Salvador, like a little house with like 2 or 3 bedroom and stuff. If you want to live on the outskirts, like Lourdes or something, you can pay 450 for a townhouse, like a really three bedroom house with like a nice backyard and stuff. But then you need to travel like back and forth to San Salvador. The traffic over there is terrible right now. So whatever you are going to save on rent, you are going to spend in time and petrol. So you have a bit of a trade-off in that situation. For instance, the apartment that we live in is in San Benito, which is one of the the best neighborhoods here, and we pay 850 for the apartment, and it's a 3 bedroom apartment, has a little backyard in the back, comes with like aircon, hot water, and I mean, it's not the most modern, because it's like 16, 17 years old apartment, but is way bigger than the newer ones. So yeah, it's unfortunately there's been a bit of a situation in El Salvador that the housing prices have like went to the roof, and it's because of all these Salvadorians who are living abroad, that they can actually, if they, I don't know, if some real estater said, that house cost, I don't know, 350,000, they said, okay, no worries, there you go.
Yeah.
Which is the same house, let's say 15, 16 years ago was, 100,000.
Yeah.
So, that market has, because of, as I said, because of all the Salvadorians who were like now buying property, And obviously the real estate, it's like, okay, they can afford that, we can raise the prices.
Sure.
So, so yeah, that's the thing. I mean, if someone can pay, someone can offer higher prices. So that's the thing. That's why, has been the prices in here, for me, have been like very like shocking, because I don't know, for an apartment like this one in Thailand, we can pay $300 a month.
Yeah.
In Chiang Mai or something, I don't know. So that's the only thing that that for me has been a bit of a shock, that electricity is not as cheap as I remember. We pay like $80 a month on electricity, and even though we have aircon, because the apartment is so well, like it's very cool, so well ventilated. We don't need to run the aircon, unless it's so hot. And yet, for two people, it's like $80 a month on electricity. Water is cheap. That's the only thing that you can say is like we pay like $2 a month of water. And then what else? Supermarket. I have a lot of friends that lives in the States, and they say that it's cheaper in the States than in here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like I mean, you're paying a lot of money for an apartment. I mean, $850 in El Salvador is that's expensive.
Yeah, I know.
That's expensive. I mean, you got a 3-bedroom, which is nice. You got a lot of space, but that is still, I mean, compared to other places that I've interviewed people in, that's high. That's probably the high, that is the highest from people that I've interviewed in Mexico and Honduras and Ecuador and all over.
Yeah, even Guatemala.
Guatemala's
is way cheaper.
Yeah.
For an apartment, let's say in Zona 14, which is one of the best areas near to the airport, is way cheaper than here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I did. So there's just a lot of Salvadorians that are working, that live overseas now, and they're coming back and they're purchasing houses in their home country.
That's right. And as I said, because if there's someone willing to pay what the other person asks for the property, that's where the market starts to like increase the prices. So yeah.
I wonder if they'll come back down again. So I'm looking at what you said about 450 to 600, and that's in the city, where you can pretty much, I guess, get around by walking, taking taxis.
Walking, I don't know. It's a bit of a like very complex situations, because there are places that you can walk like no issues at all.
Yeah.
But there are places that you shouldn't be like going around or stuff. So
yeah.
So it's I mean, Ubers are so cheap in here. That is something that I was just like in love, because when we arrived, we didn't have a car, so we had to like get Ubers. So let's say they go from like $2 something. That's basically around the minimum, or like, I don't know, like 2 or 3 kilometers ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that you can go around in Ubers quite a bit. Buses, I rode a couple of buses when we arrived. They are safe. I mean, they're not the most modern ways of transport. And
did you get on one of those older school buses?
Yeah,
Yeah,
even on one of those that it looks like they have a discotheque inside because of
Yes.
all the lights.
So they still
And
paint them up and everything and make them look awesome on the, yeah, those are
yeah.
awesome.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's funny. I mean, for me, it was like I was laughing and enjoying all my trip, but obviously for some other people, it's like, okay, I don't
Yeah.
like this. But yeah, I mean, they're funny, and you can actually, ride around in a bus or something. But then again, we have this situation right now that there are times you can see these buses packed full of people. So, it's something that, you just don't want
Yeah.
to risk.
Sure. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. So the flats that we're talking about, I just want to get these numbers down before we move on. So for a flat, you're looking at, you said, I think $450 to $600.
Yeah, roughly.
That you could find a pretty nice flat in a safe area. You
In
said
in a safe area. You can find like $300 or $250, but it's at your own risk.
Yeah. Now as far as like purchasing a house, what can you find good deals for? Where you could turn, where you get maybe a little garden, a little, outdoor area where you can sit outside, something that's somewhat comfortable.
Yeah. Well, one of my clients is a real estater or real estate agency. So I kind of know how much, the things are going. So let's say for I don't know, I mean, the thing is that you gotta be lucky and you gotta do your own research, and you can find, $100,000 house, again, in a decent area. Don't expect any like modern stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, or let's say I have seen apartments in I don't know, Colonia San Francisco, which is, still a good area. It used to be where all the rich people live, but now it started to all the big houses, they started to like demolish them and start like doing like apartments. So the older apartments in those areas, they can go for 75, 80, something like that. And then the new developments in here are going for 175 for, the lowest ones.
Yeah.
So the newer ones are going from 175 onwards.
Yeah. Who are buying them? Do you see, is it mostly Salvadorians that are coming back, or do you see other expats?
There are expats, but most of the time expats, they don't stay much in the city. They love to live down in the beach or in the mountain and stuff. I met a Dutch person in the beach. He has been living in El Salvador for the last 5 years or so. With all his family, he has a little hostel down there, and he's a dive instructor.
What beach is this?
Palmarcito.
How do you spell that?
Palmarcito, Palmarcito.
Palmarcito. Okay.
So it's a Dutch guy that
Gotcha.
he loves. Yeah, he loves over there. His whole family is in there. They live in the hostel that they have.
Yeah.
And I asked him, do you ever go back to Netherlands? Like, I love here. I'm not moving back there. So that says a lot, because Netherlands, I've been there and it's amazing.
It is. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So yeah, most, well, at least the ones that I have met, they live either down at the beach or in the mountains. Not many of them in, well, in Suchitoto as well. That's another like place that expats love to go and live.
What's the name of that?
Suchitoto.
Suchitoto.
Yeah, Suchitoto, Suchitoto.
Suchitoto. Okay.
Mhm.
Nice. Now, have you ever heard of El Zonte?
Yes,
That's a beach too, right?
yes.
So that now I understand that whole area takes Bitcoin, and that's where they did the Bitcoin conference. So the Bitcoin conference moved out there, and
Yeah,
all of the businesses accepted Bitcoin from
yeah,
what one of my buddies, he went to the conference out there.
yeah.
And then he went to this El Zonte. He loved it. He said it was gorgeous out there.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is a gorgeous place. It's very it's you have this like small beach area, and then you have all these rocks, and the houses are like encrusted in the rocks and stuff, and you have caves. So I guess it's one of the best beaches.
Okay.
So yeah, but they started to accept Bitcoin way before, all this, how can I say, hype started. So because again, there were a lot of foreigners either living in there or staying there in the hostels and stuff, and it takes one to accept something, and then everyone else has started to emulate. So I don't know, a couple of years ago, every single person in there, even the one who sells minutas or mangoes or something, they accept Bitcoin. It's been a currency for a long time in there.
Gotcha. What's your take? As you've been around, you've been all over the world, you've lived outside of the country. I mean, do you think it's advantageous, or do you see the benefits to utilizing Bitcoin as a currency in El Salvador?
Yeah, I mean, it's like all in life, there's like pros and cons, But if Bitcoin is going to attract like people who's willing to invest, why not? That's that's a good thing, because that's what the country needs. The country needs investors that wants to do something, some sort of business and stuff. And obviously all that is going to expand the economy,
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing is that it's a currency that is very like
Very
changing all the time.
very volatile.
So yeah, so that is something that you need to keep an eye on it. But that's the future, that there's no way that that Bitcoin is not the future,
Yeah, I don't think it's going anywhere.
No. It's like everything. I mean, it's been around for like what, 12 years, 10 years or something.
Yeah.
I remember when I was back in Australia, just recently moved, someone came and talked to me about it. Like, yeah, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
I don't believe in that
Right.
stuff. Yeah. And then in 2018 or something, again, someone told me about it, and it was around like $2,000 a coin.
I know.
And I was like, should I like spend $2,000 in something like that? After that, I regret it, but anyway.
Sure. Yeah, it's one of those things. A lot of people kick themselves when they didn't jump on that bandwagon right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as far as like if you were to decide to say tomorrow you were going to stay there, and there's all these quaint little towns that I've never even heard of in El Salvador. What are some of these like beach towns or quaint little towns that would be really nice to live in, maybe buy a house in? For people that are going, yeah, I don't really want to live in San Salvador. I'd like to live outside in a walkable city where it's quiet. You got maybe the beach. It's what are those places of El Salvador that would be desirable to live in?
Okay, for me, there's a few. I mean, it depends on what your preferences are.
Sure.
Let's say there's one that is called Ataco, which is
ATACO?
yeah, Ataco, which
Ataco.
is in the mountains. It's let's say 1 hour from San Salvador roughly, and it's a beautiful town. It's a it's very picturesque, you know. The balustrade roads and the colorful houses and stuff. And it's a town that, you know, they said you can live with the door open and nothing is going to happen. I mean, it's just to say it, but it's very safe. It's one of those places that, as I said, that everyone knows everyone. And the weather is magnificent. You know, it's obviously colder than San Salvador because it's up in the range.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. And it has basically everything you need, like small supermarket, like corner shops, everything, and it's you know, obviously it's cheaper to live than in San Salvador. I don't know much about the prices of the houses.
Yeah.
But let's say in the outskirts, they're like little complexes and stuff, and then they go for like 50 to 60,000 for like a you know, beautiful like townhouse with like a decent garden and stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
That when you wake up in the morning, the first thing that you can see is like a big mountain in front of you, like full of like trees and stuff. So
yeah,
it's a taco is one of those.
okay.
The other one is the Suchitoto, which is the one that I told you before,
Yes,
which is a very colonial town.
Yeah.
It's not as colonial as Antigua, Guatemala, but still, you know, has a lot of charm. Again, balustrade roads. It has a lake in the back. The church is beautiful.
Yeah. Can you swim? Can you swim in the lake?
My guess, or I haven't done it, but I'm pretty sure you can.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, that's another place, and I don't know. There's plenty of little towns. Let's say Berlin. It's another one.
Berlin.
Yeah.
Like like Germany.
Yeah, like Germany. Yeah. That's that's a bit 1.5 hours roughly from here.
Yeah.
So, you know, in terms of small towns, there's a big variety, and as I said, depends on what's your if you want to be in the mountains, or if you want to be like a bit more on the lake side or something, or if you want to go down to the beach. But then, unfortunately, the prices in La Libertad have like skyrocketed. So, you know, that's the only thing that, you know, don't expect to find places that are cheap in there, because, you know, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But let's say in San Miguel in El Cuco area, which is the best beach in El Salvador for me. Like, to me, it's the best beach because it's so flat and you can walk miles and miles and miles. And the thing is that just goes to, like, I don't know, above your knee level. So it's just extremely flat. It's beautiful. And that place, I mean, still in you know, it's still in the development place, you know. So they haven't had that. There's a lot of foreigners, but they go into a famous hotel in there for surfing and stuff. But not many expats have, you know, go into that specific beach, which is gorgeous. It's beautiful.
And this is San Miguel.
That's in San Miguel, yeah.
Okay.
That's around, I don't know, 2.5 hours roughly drive from San Salvador.
Okay. All right, great. So the other couple things that we haven't talked about are like getting a visa. Is that difficult for somebody to go live in El Salvador? Do you know much about that?
I mean, it's not difficult.
Okay.
To be honest, it is very straightforward. I mean, you can enter as a tourist.
Sure.
And once you are here, you go to the immigration office. And I'm telling you because we did it with my girlfriend. She's Australian.
Sure. Yeah.
So so you go to the immigration department, and then you need to choose, you know, what sort of like visa you're going to get. If you are going to you know, just I don't know, come in with your Salvadorian boyfriend or girlfriend or wife or husband, or if you want to work for a company here, or if you are like some sort of freelance or something. So, you know, they have these different levels of thing, and for each level you need you need to show, you know, different paperwork.
Sure.
Which needs to be translated to Spanish.
Okay. Oh, wow.
But but there's a lot of lawyers and stuff that they do it for you, and, you know, they translate it and they sign it for you as a faithful copy of the original.
Yeah.
And then you pay, I think it was $130
Okay.
for the 1 year
temporary visa. Yeah.
And then you can keep extending, you know,
Sure.
whatever times. But the funny thing that happened to us is that, you know, because in order to avoid like lots of paperwork, I said, okay, I'm the one who's supporting my girlfriend, so so okay, fine. So we didn't have to show like a lot of things that they ask. So, and in order to check that we are together and we live here, they show up one day at my door just to check out if we I mean, like one random day, not you know.
Yeah.
They just call you, are you home? Yeah, okay. So they just knock your door, and then, you know, just to check that you actually live there. And, you know, they ask you like, you know, like just general questions about things. But yeah, I was like, not even in Australia they do that. So
yeah, that's wild.
yeah, no.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, that's as I said, it's very straightforward. Usually takes from the time that you give all your paperwork to the immigration department, takes 3 weeks roughly. And then you have to go back. They take a picture of you and they give you like a little ID.
Yeah. Okay. So how was healthcare there? And is there insurance that you have?
Well, healthcare is cheap, to be honest. Um, Obviously, if you want to have a health care, yes, you can. Uh, I don't know if in the States or somewhere else you can get a healthcare that can covers you, if you live in abroad. But the insurance here, it's listen, you need to actually read the small letters and see, what covers and what not. But most of the time, it's just very straightforward. Private healthcare obviously is the best.
Sure. Yeah.
And yet, still cheap.
Hmm.
Well, a friend of mine who is American, she got appendicitis, so she went to the women hospitals, which is basically one of the top level in El Salvador, and she only paid for that surgery like $1,000, including stay in the hospital for like 3 to 4 days with
Oh,
meals and everything.
wow.
So that was $1,000.
Wow. You know what that would cost in the US? That'd
I don't
probably
know.
cost with meals and everything, staying overnight for 3 to 4 days, about probably 50 grand.
Ouch.
It's unreal, man, what's
Yeah.
happened in the US. So that's fantastic.
Yeah. And something that they trying to do in here is something that they called health tourism.
Yes.
That people from abroad, they come
Yeah.
and do dentals
Dental work.
or
Yeah.
plastic surgery,
Yeah.
whatever, for a fraction on what they pay in their own countries.
Yeah.
My my auntie, the only time she has been here, since she left Australia, she came to do her like dental and stuff. She paid let's say 1,000, 1,200, something like that for the whole stuff.
Yeah.
And she said that back in Australia they were going to charge her 35
Yes.
for all that. So
Yeah.
with all that money that she was going to spend there, she just came, spend a lot of time in here. She spent like more than a month in here. So yeah, that is something that they trying to do. They try to like push the health tourism, because a lot of people, they can't afford to have these sort of things in their countries.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think that there is. That's why I think that this podcast is really valuable to a lot of people, because there are some people in the US that just can't afford it anymore. And and there are people that are looking for alternatives to live in because of the healthcare issue and because of how expensive everything is. I mean, the cities are incredibly expensive now, and apartments are incredibly all over the country. There's like a pandemic of unaffordable apartments and housing throughout America now. And it's a problem, and it's one of those things that we have to figure out and solve, or there's going to be people continuing to look for alternatives and better options, and there's plenty of them. There's plenty of them out there, in El Salvador seems to be a very viable option for that. I think we covered pretty much everything. Is there anything else you want to share about El Salvador that maybe we didn't cover that you can think of?
Yes, safety.
Okay.
I think we haven't talked about that. The thing is that there's a really bad reputation about El Salvador, that it's a really bad place that you're going to get like kidnap and murder and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not. Um, Obviously, there, things happen like anywhere in the world. And as long as you stay in say certain areas, you're going to be fine. Um, Obviously, it's very common to have petty crime, but also you have petty crime in Rome, that you cannot have your wallet in your back, or your phones in your pockets, because they pickpocket. So um, the thing is that I would like and that's one of the reasons that on my Instagram I started to like show a lot of things on El Salvador, to show people that I mean, it's not bad. I mean, we are not perfect, but it is safe. Like, and a lot of people says that as well, that they were shocked on how safe El Salvador is, and and that is something that eventually, I guess, people start to like have a different mindset on what they have been told in the past, like constantly, what was El Salvador like. And obviously all these expats who are living in here, they can say, yeah, we live here and that's fine. It's not bad. So yeah, yeah, to all your listeners, I will tell them that not to worry to visit El Salvador. Please do not skip it, because you don't know what are you missing. When you actually get here and get to know the country, you're going to be like, wow, this is amazing. So yeah, although the as I said, the prices are not that cheap, but still have going like crazy high. There are still places that you can get like good deals and stuff. So, but you need to actually ask around in order for you to grab a good deal.
Yeah. Well, thanks for clarifying that. I think it's like anywhere else in the world. I've been there, and it's like anywhere else. Even in the United States, when you live in big cities, there are certain places you don't go at night, because it's dangerous. And so you avoid those areas. And that's what we do. Also, when you go to different countries and you're traveling through different countries, especially large cities like San Salvador, which is like the New York City of Central America, and in El Salvador, there's going to be places that are going to be beautiful, and there's going to be places that are going to be a little bit more, you got to be careful in.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like anywhere else. So
that's right.
Great point to make. Well, Alvaro Mayorga, thank you so much, buddy, for sharing your journey and sharing all of your insights on the beautiful country of El Salvador. I truly appreciate you, and thank you for accepting the invitation to be on the podcast.
Thank you very much for that again. And as I said to all your listeners, please do not skip El Salvador. Come and visit. You don't know what you're missing.
Yeah, and the other thing I want to say is definitely check out Alvaro Mayorga's photography. It's spectacular. We're going to put it right at the end of this podcast, the links to check it out. It's wonderful. All right. Well, thank you, sir. Mucho gusto. Pleasure to meet you, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you very much for that, and keep in touch.